If you're developing any type of software, you might be at risk. And this is not just Vive coded applications. Even if you yourself are writing code by hand, if you're using Node.js, for example, which is a very common JavaScript based way to create web applications, you might be installing packages using npm or pnpm, and even in other languages, there are different package managers out there that will allow you to use third-party packages. And this is all very common and has been done that way for a very long time. And it's great because you have an opportunity to use tools that other people have created. Recently, there was a big security vulnerability exploited in Axios, which is a tool that allowed us to do web fetching before Node actually had fetch as a core primitive. And it was used all over the place. I remember we used it way back when. We don't use it anymore, but many other platforms still use it, and it's still a supported package. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that as Vive coding has become so much more popular and people are not necessarily paying attention to what they're installing, because many times it's not even them that are installing the things. It's actually the LLM, like Cloud Code or Codex, that's doing the installation. That's where the attack surface has grown. Why? Because at the same time, these tools have made it way easier for bad actors to infiltrate or add additional malicious code to things. Now, of course, they need to gain access to a particular repository or to a maintainer that has access to said repository, and this is what has been happening. In some cases, they have gained access either via social engineering or other methods to maintainers' machines that then allow them to act on their behalf and perhaps poison a package. Now, this all might sound very technical, and you can skip ahead. I'll leave in the notes why I'm making this video, because there's a solution for you, or at least something that can help. But if you're interested, this is what's happening. So if you can imagine that we all use packages from many people around the world, and they have been supported for many years, but now bad actors have been able to put additional code in some of these packages that maybe weren't flagged in time, or since they are being put in by people that should have access, then they just go through all the checks. And a lot of the code that's added might look harmless if not using a specific tool to do the scanning for that sort of thing. And sometimes there are no tools that will necessarily capture it. So, not to make it too long, it is a problem. The problem is that you can install something that you would always install today, even TanStack. Many people are using TanStack. You might be using Next.js. You might be using many other tools that are very common, some open source, some not open source. Very well maintained pieces of software, but have now been exploited with packages that maybe are in their direct repository or packages that they depend on. And that's another thing. You might be getting a package that you trust, but maybe that package depends on another package. And there are ways to protect you, and this is why I'm doing this video. I'm going to show you something in a little bit that our friends from Arnica shared with us last time they were on the show. And I'm going to show you how to install it, because you can install it or you could just follow the configuration guidelines, and it might save you a lot of headaches down the line. One of the things that happens with package managers is if you do not lock a version, let's say you're installing version 14.5 of something, you just leave it open, then it will always try to install whenever you're reinstalling it, because, I don't know, you're running a new project or something. It will try to install that sort of latest version. And if at that moment that you're installing, there was a problematic bundle in the wild, even if it lasts like a day, maybe 6 minutes, all the people that were installing it in that time period are automatically targeted. Why? Because they're downloading the package, they're running it on their machine, and some of these have install scripts which run post install. So after the code is installed, it runs the script, and that script can do whatever it wants. So there's tools to protect people from this, but most people don't have it, especially nowadays that it's not just software developers, software engineers that are doing this. It's just regular people that decided to create an application because it's so easy with Cloud Code and Codex, etc. So it is problematic. Now, I'm going to show you a tool called Depsguard that allows you to set all or a lot of these settings as a protection for you, so that as this keeps happening, and it very likely will continue to happen, at least you have some protection. I'll try to explain what we're doing, what each one of these does throughout the video as I do it. And again, I'm going to put a TLDR at some point just so you see how to install it. But suffice to say, just a brief intro why I'm making this video. All right, so what can we do? Well, most of these are found in time, right? So as time passes. So it might be 6 minutes later, a couple of minutes later, or it might be a few days later. But they're typically caught, and then they're explained in the media what happened, and they do all the investigation and see where it came from, etc., etc. But you could have been caught in that time frame. So there are a few little simple tweaks that you can do. In this case, set something like the minimum age for a package, which are just basic configurations from some of these package managers like npm that basically say, if the package that I'm going to install is newer than a certain time date, I don't want it. I want the version right before it. So with that, you're basically sort of giving yourself a buffer. You might not have the bleeding edge thing that just came out today, but you're protecting yourself a little bit from potential attacks of this type. Now, I haven't mentioned this, but why is this important? Because it's not that they're just gaining access to your computer and trying to hack into it and do a bunch of other stuff. No, it's way simpler than that. Basically what they do, since they know a lot of people are coding things and they're using LLMs, etc., what these breaches do, once a machine is infected, they'll immediately run scripts that will try to exfiltrate or grab the API keys from known services. So they'll try to get AWS credentials, Azure credentials, they'll try to get Google Cloud credentials, LLM API keys, of course, key vaults, key chains, a bunch of other things, and then just send it out immediately. They don't have to do anything else. By getting that, they could do so much more damage in sense of monetary damage, because they can start using your API keys, rack up your bill, use it for other nefarious purposes. They gain access to different systems. Maybe they hit a jackpot and get access to like a very big, important system. Scary stuff. So I don't think we have to stress the importance of this more. It's important. So what we're doing here, I'm going to run it. I'm going to install Depsguard because I think this is one of the ways, the easiest ways to do it. I know a lot of people are going to be searching about minimum age, right? Minimum release age, things like that. So that's the whole thing. You will see people on X saying things like, hey guys, another exploit or whatever, another supply chain attack. Make sure you do min release age on your npm. And you're going to be like, what? What's npm? What is min release age? How do I set? I have no idea. Well, the team at Arnica, Eran Medan, a CTO at Arnica, shared this package with us. They made it as a tool that it can help people in this scenario. it will just do everything for you. It's a guided thing. You can see what it's going to do. It creates backups for your files, etc. It's very well done. It's open source. You can see all the code there. You can see exactly what it's doing, or you could just give the code to your agent and have your Cloud Code or whatever do it for you. You don't have to use their application. It's just they created a little CLI or TUI interface that makes it easier for you to do. So that's the route I'm going, the route I suggest our clients to do as well, just because it's easier, especially if you're non-technical. But yeah, it's up to you. So here we go, TLDR. We're adding settings to npm and other package managers that will make it safer for us whenever we're installing packages, because of so many supply chain attacks that are going on. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen here, and the tool's called Depsguard. It's this one here, very nice little site that they made here. Basically, you install this tool, it will search through your system, and you could do it for macOS, Linux, Windows, right? And you could do it this way, or you could go to their GitHub if you want. You can see the binaries right there, or you could go to the code and look at the code and see exactly what it does, and it'll explain everything that it does and how it's built and all that. If you're curious, if you're interested, you can go through the whole thing. But basically, what it's doing is all these settings that are common settings. Again, if you go here, npm, this is a big one, min-releaseAge, it just delays new version by 7 days. And you can click here, you can see like this is a setting for npm. There's nothing new about it. It's just most people don't know about it, especially if they're not software engineers or software developers. So you just set this setting. But what Depsguard does is it allows you to have it scan your system for these package managers, and it just sets a lot of these same defaults. So ignore install scripts, right? It'll block malicious install scripts, and that works for npm, for pnpm. It will do the same thing here for pnpm. We've got the release age. It's got a few extra things like trusting no downgrade policies to block provenance downgrades. It's got failed and unreviewed build scripts, a bunch of little settings for different things, even for UV, bun, yarn, etc. These are where the configuration files are set. Again, you would have to go to your machine, find your home folder, library preferences, pnpm, rc, and then go and set those settings, or just use Depsguard and it will do it for you. So it'll explain here, will this protect you against anything? No, but it's specifically delaying the adoption of brand new package versions because this is what's happening. They're coming out. I already explained everything, blah, blah, blah. So let's use it, see how it works. So what we're going to do is, and don't take this lightly. Like, you're going to see a lot of videos on YouTube saying like, yeah, just grab this code and install. Like when you install OpenClaw and other things, it's great if you sort of know what you're doing. But just don't just copy commands and run them willy-nilly. Please do your research and see what that's actually going to do. Maybe ask your agent, hey, what would this command do? Where is it getting the thing? Is it a trusted entity, etc.? And so in this case, I trust them. I know what it does. But basically, I'm on macOS. So brew tap Arnica Depsguard. What it's doing is using Homebrew, which allows you to install, I think they're called casks or whatever, in macOS. It's a way to install packages and run them. So I'm going to do it this way just because I'm on macOS. But again, you could do it in different systems with different ways of doing it. I'm going to do it here. I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm actually going to put it on top of their little screen here. And we'll see what it does. Okay, so let's do that. So you're going to see here what it does first. It's going to use Homebrew to download the files. It's going to get those casks. Yeah, they're called casks. It's going to install it from there. And it's saying, there it is, running brew cleanup, disable this behavior, blah, 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 hide these hints with whatever. Okay, so it's done. It's ready. So now I will go run Depsguard. That's what I'm going to do. Depsguard. There it is. So we've got Depsguard. It's searching. So it's going through all the different trees. And it's going to try to find the different installations. So I'm going to let it run. And as you can see here, it scans all the system and you see all the action needed items here, right? So you can press any key to enter selection mode or press Q to quit, right? So I can go in here and I can look at all of these items that it found, right? So a lot of these are different installations, different folders. These might be some old things, etc. And it allows you to just go through all of them and set all these changes, right? So I'm just gonna scroll through right here just a little bit. So you can see here that I can navigate and I can see, oh, npm 11.9, pnpm 1033. We can add the ignore scripts true, minimum release age for 7 days. And then I can go here for pnpm. This is in my library preferences folder. UV here, we've got npm here. This one, we've got it in a specific folder. We've got a bunch of other little projects. Some of these might be in downloads, like temporary downloads for code or things like that that are not really in use. So it just goes through all of the ones. We've got 18 pages of different things. Some of those might be their own installation, and some of them might be the actual like home user installation. So we've gone through most of them here. There we go. Page 30, 31, 32. So there's 223. So let me just scroll all the way down here. And we see a few extra ones. There we go. There we go. So that's all of them. And if I want to, I could do A, which would select all of them. I could do N, which does npm-rc. I could do U, which does UV toml, etc. So based on whatever I want, I'm going to do all, right? So that selects all of them, 223. And then I can press D, which would show me all the changes if I wanted to do that, or I could press enter and it will apply all the fixes. There's a backup created with a timestamp, so I'm fine with that. So I'm going to do that, and there it goes. So as it does it, it will do all that, and then it's going to scan it again. So here it says all package managers are properly configured. And so some of these, if you look up here, it says action needed, and that's because these might have a lower version. Let's see. There we go. Oh no, these are fine. These look good. Yeah, it applied it to all of them. So it applied the block malicious install scripts, delay the version, etc. for all of these items here. This was before. This is after. And we're good. So all 223 checks passed across 112 configs. That's it. So it already rescanned, everything is good. And now we're a little bit more protected. So if you want to do it, you can do it. If not, like I said, you can go in here. You could just show it to your favorite LLM that you use for coding and have it actually set those items. You don't have to use the tool, but it just made it so much simpler, as you saw right now. And then here's an explanation, like how would this have helped during the Axios compromise? Well, on March 31st, which just happened a couple of months ago, a compromised maintainer account published malicious versions of Axios. The bad versions were live for 3 hours before being removed. If your package manager was configured with the 7-day minimum release age, which we just did, it would have refused to download a new version during that window. Same logic applies to the UA parser library, which was compromised for 4 hours. Node, again, and this is they just created this after the Axios incident, but it's happening. It just keeps happening. It just happened with TanStack today. It's huge because the TanStack just became super popular recently versus Next.js. So again, a lot of people are starting to use it in their Vive coded applications. It's a great tool, great software, but yeah, it's such a large surface area for attacks that we just have to look after each other. Try it. If it helps, great. Any way you want to run it, but just make sure you do something just to protect yourself going forward. Hope it helps.